Hi, I'm Duke Pesta, Academic Director for Freedom Project Education and contributor to the New American magazine. I'd like to talk to you about a recent article in the New American, the December 2012 Christmas edition to be exact, written by Charles Scaliger and entitled The Rise of Christendom. In this interesting essay, Mr. Scaliger reminds us of how Christians were persecuted by Roman emperors in the first 3 centuries AD. As modern Christians and conservatives, it's very easy to become discouraged, particularly in the wake of the last election. We see how all the marks and trappings of our Christian faith and heritage are being slowly removed from the public square. We see how the Health and Human Service mandate of President Obama, requiring churches and Catholic and Christian institutions to pay for birth control and abortifacient medicines for the employees of those institutions, even though it's against our consciences. We see these events and these developments, and it's very easy to lose faith and hope. It's a dark time. But I think if we go back and remember what Mr. Scaliger so eloquently reminds us, if we go back and remember those early Christians and what they suffered. Christians were scapegoated and blamed across the board for everything from earthquakes to floods to fires to crop failures. Whenever a Roman emperor needed a scapegoat, inevitably he chose Christians. Part of this is because the Roman emperors had come to be viewed as gods. They were no longer men. An increasingly complicated mythology of divinity surrounded the rulers of what used to be the Roman Republic. Much the same can be said about America today, as even Christians in our country have begun, because of our tremendous prosperity and opportunity, that many Christians even in our country have began to put more and more faith, cede more and more freedom and liberty to cultural and political institutions in this country. It's almost as if many of us across the board have come to look for our salvation from government, from politics, from celebrity, the cult of personality. We must remember what Mr. Scaliger points out, that the early Christians suffered in mass, died for their beliefs. And yet, despite their persecution, within 3 short centuries from the death of Christ, Christianity had superseded the pagan mythology of Rome, and under Constantine, the entire Roman Empire had become Christian, paving the way for the rise of Western culture and the ultimate formation of the American Union that we now celebrate. It's critically important if in that horrific time for Christians, their faith persevered to such a degree that they overcame the Roman Empire, then we have very little to be sad and discouraged about ourselves. If we can rally around our beliefs, Christ made it abundantly clear. I am strong when you are weak. Maybe it's time for American Christians to recognize that government's not the answer, politics is not the answer, social issues aren't the answer. Maybe if we retreat back to a strong faith in Christ, He will revive and revitalize the faith across the country, the way He conquered Rome all those centuries ago. Thank you, and keep the faith.